All righty, happy Thursday. My name is Kate with Scott Leroy Marketing. Today we're going to be going over it's Nurture Your Database for Print Marketing. So our primary topic today is going to be print marketing within Command. A couple of resources before we get started. You can always access our additional resources through our scottleroymarketing.com website. You can access the training calendar and all of that information. You can also access all of our recordings. So this class is recorded and will be added to our YouTube, usually within 24 hours. So you can always come here to rewatch it or find any additional resources you guys might be looking for. So we do weekly tip videos as well as all of our daily classes are recorded and added here. So you can always just go to videos and find the most recent. So definitely check that out, subscribe, so that you stay up to date on that. But we're going to go ahead and jump in. So again, everyone will remain muted. Feel free to drop questions in the chat box and we will get those answered before the end of class today. The first thing that we're going to do to get started today is we're going to want to log into Command. So to access Command, you're going to go to agent.kw.com, log in using your KW username and password. If you forgot your password, you can always use the reset button on that front page to sign in. If you're not receiving that email, reach out to us. We can help you figure out what email is on file for your recovery and help troubleshoot that with you. I'm also just going to drop our support email in the chat box real quick. If at any point throughout this class or any other class or any day in general, you guys are having issues or need help with something, even if it's just finding a video you can't find, feel free to reach out to us at support@scottleroymarketing.com. We would be super happy to assist you with whatever you might have going on. Well, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to jump into is Command, like I said, log in. The next thing is we're going to, I always like to make sure that you have your marketing profile. Every once in a while, something will pull from there. So we just like to go into settings, check out your marketing profile in the Connect settings, and make sure your information is up to date and saved within here. You do want to hit save at the bottom. Sometimes it will pull in the information, so always just make sure that that is on. Not necessarily for print marketing, but for designs within Command. Next thing we're going to do for our print marketing today is we're just going to head over to designs. So today we're going to be taking a look at creating a couple different pieces of print marketing. We're going to take a look at creating a flyer, whether it's for open house, just listed, just sold, things like that. You can create whatever you'd like, but we're going to take a look at creating a flyer. We're also going to take a look at the listing presentation and how to set that up. As well as we'll take a quick peek at the buyer presentation in here as well so that you guys know how to access both of those. So once we come into designs, the first thing that I like to do is I like to check out our assets. So I'm actually going to go to import design and we're going to take a look at the assets here. Now, the reason we do this is because this information, having this here makes it easier to pull that into your designs. So your logo, your headshot, things like that. If you have them in your assets, you're not having to upload them each time you need to use them. They'll already be in there. If you're recently onboarded, generally we will add those for you. But if you need any help adding those, again, feel free to reach out to us. We can definitely assist. But once we're here, the first thing you're going to notice is there is Keller Williams Realty Assets. So as we take a look at this, you'll notice that there are colors and fonts. Now this is just going to be Keller Williams prefer colors and fonts for their various different marketing and what they offer. There's also images. So here you can find stock images that you're able to use for various different pieces of marketing. And they do actually have different folders as well. If you want to take a look at those, you can definitely peek at each of those. They're going to have different ones. House Exteriors, if you want to change the ones on your website or something like that, you can come grab them from here. Text. This is the ownership statement, so each office independently owned and operated. Generally, that's going to populate on most of your marketing. If it doesn't, though, you generally do want to make sure it's added, but do follow whatever your local compliance is. Logos, you'll notice that there's various folders here. So there's the events folder for like Red Day. Luxury, if you're a luxury agent, you can locate those and use them. Miscellaneous are going to be like your equal housing opportunity, the NER logo, things like that. We have the labs logos. And then we have the generic KW logos. So these are not going to be the branded logos to your market center, but they are just the generic KW logos that they offer. Elements, these are going to be various shapes or things like that that you can use. So perfect example is if you're creating a business card or an email signature and you need the email icon or phone icon, you can come and grab those. Videos, if there are any that you want added to your assets, you can put those there. And then also files. If you have like a PDF of something that you would like to use, you can always add those to your assets. Again, adding them to your assets just makes it so much easier for you down the road for each different piece of designs that you do. It just makes that available right there within your design. You don't have to find it on your computer and upload it. Now that we've looked at the Keller Williams ones, we also have the My Assets. So from here, you can find colors that you've created, fonts that you like, if you have images you'd like to upload. And while we're here, I'm going to show you guys how to add your logos and where to find them. So for example, we're going to go over to kwconnect.com, and this is to find your local market center logos. And we're going to go to resources and down to marketing. And once we're at marketing, the first one in the top is the logos and branding. So that is what we're going to go ahead and click on. Once you're here, you're just going to scroll down until you get to this option here. And you're going to search for your market center number. So I'm just going to search market center 1. And we're just going to put this one here. So we're going to just pull the Austin Southwest office. What I'm going to do is I clicked preview, but I actually want to download that folder. And once I download it, it's going to allow me to open the folder on my desktop. And I'm just extracting that real fast so we can access them. I think maybe it opened on my desktop. 1 second, guys. Find that. There they are. Once I've downloaded that folder, the thing that you want to do this for is so that you can have the various different logos, because not all pieces of marketing that you're going to create are going to, you're not going to want to use the red and gray KW for all of them. You may not be able to see the logo very well, and you may want a different variation. So once we download that, the great thing is that we now have access to all of the various different colors and styles of the logo. So now I can add these to my assets so that I have them. And not only does it have the black and the white options, it also has all of the various color options. So let me go ahead and change that so you guys can see it. So now it has the red and the white, red and the gray. It also has the transparent background, and it has the white background. So I prefer the transparent one. I don't like the boxy square. I like it to just kind of fit in nicely with my image. But that is totally up to you how you want to use that. Also, for certain things, you may need the different variations formats of the logo. So just keep that in mind. Now that I have those, though, I'm going to go back to Command. And I'm going to just upload those. I'm going to do this from my device since they're on my computer. And I'm going to go ahead and select these and hit open. I'm going to do add more because I just want to add them all at once. I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to hit the color options. And now you'll see I have all of the various ones, and I'm going to do upload. So you can also do this for your headshot if you have multiple different variations of your headshot. If you have one that has a transparent background, white background, things like that, you can add all of those as well. But now we have those assets added. I can add them to a folder if I want, or just leave them in my assets. Now, you may want to add those to your logos instead. So you can do both. I like to just have it all over the place. So we're going to just add these to my logos as well. And the reason for that is when you're clicked on a logo, it will pull them up instead of just the photo. I'll show you when we're in the design what that looks like. But now we have those in both images and logos. You don't have to add them to both. That's up to you. Everybody kind of does their things a little bit differently. So totally preference there. If you have text that you'd like to add that's easily clickable, you can find those and add those, such as your website, your app URL, things like that. Logos, again, if you have those. If you have any elements that you want to use, say that you have a certain logo that you use for, or design that you use for a lot of different things, you can add that here. Same for videos and PDFs again. Those are the assets. Again, you can upload them, organize them in folders, however you would like to do that. Now that we've got the assets done though, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to, I'm going to go back to designs so we can kind of start from a starting point. So we're going to do create a design now that we're back in templates. Now keep in mind, yours may look different here. These are designs that I've made. So if you are brand new and you have not created any designs, this is going to be blank. That's perfectly okay. Everybody's just going to look different here. But when you click create design, we're going to be doing the print marketing here. Now, these do have different templates, so just keep that in mind. We do have videos that go over the other design formats, so you can definitely check those out, but we're going to be focusing on print. So we're going to hit that and hit next. And once it loads, you'll see that now we're back into the templates section. Again, tons of different templates you can access and use here. Certain ones may not show up if you're in social or email. So if you're trying to make something for print purposes, you do want to be in the print templates. But as you can see for listings, there's all of the different ones from coming soons to just sold, listing presentation, under contract, open houses. You can do any of those and they're going to have pre-made templates for you. If we go down, there's also buyer presentation for that. So you can definitely check that out as well. For now though, we're going to take a look at, let's do a just listed. Now, you'll notice up here at the top, there are various different sizes for these designs. So depending on what you're creating, you may want to filter to that. If you're creating door hangers, you may want to check those out. They're going to have specific templates created for that. If you're doing a bifold, trifold, if you're sending out postcards, check those out. There's also standard, these are portrait, and then standard postcards. For today's purpose, we're going to take a look at the flyers under letter, and that is an 8.5 by 11. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. Now you can start from scratch and create your own if you are feeling, you know, creative, or you can just grab one of the ones that are already created for you and customize that to your liking. So we're going to take a look at, I'm going to grab this one down here at the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and hit use. Now, once this loads, we're just going to give it a minute. While that bar is going at the top, you just kind of want to wait. If you get a little click happy, sometimes it will cause errors. So I just like to give it a minute to catch up. Sometimes it takes a little longer than I would like, but it's all done now. So now we have our design. Again, it is a flyer. It just has a front page. I can see that because the pages down here, it only has one. Now, if I wanted to do a front and back to this, I could definitely do that by adding a new page, but I'm not going to do that today. But now that we are here, You can click on the various different pieces and edit those. First thing we're going to start with is this logo up top. So again, this is why we wanted them under logos, because when we click on that, it's automatically going to pull those up. Whereas under images, it's not gonna pull those up. So when I click on the logo, it automatically triggers me to the logos that I have in my assets. Because this is a white background already, I can probably use any of these, but I probably don't want to use one with the white text because I'm not going to see it. So I'm going to just grab this one here. Now I can either add the logo, which as you can see, that added a brand new one, and I have to adjust it, move it, resize it. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to click on my logo again, and this time I'm going to hit the replace logo. The reason for that is it's going to put that perfectly in that exact same box. I don't have to resize it or mess around with it. It's going to keep it exactly how it was. If I did want to make it bigger because there is a lot of white space there, I can drag it and make it a little bit bigger if I want to. Again, totally up to you. If you have a team logo, you can also make it smaller and add that one next to it. Just make sure you're staying within your compliance for your local area. Next thing we're going to take a look at is swapping out the photos. So for this, I'm going to simply pull this from the listings from the MLS. So generally this works best if you have an MLS number. You can search by that specifically. You can also search by any of these other options. So address, KWLS ID, listing agent, co-listing agent, any of those you can search by. So for this, I'm just going to search a listing agent. I don't have any listings, so I'm just going to find something to pull. Just reading a quick question in the chat. The website you're going to go to is command. It's agent.kw.com, and we're in designs. So from there, I'm going to look up John Smith, and hopefully he's got something in here that we can grab. And we're just going to select this top one. Maybe. Oh, yep, there they go. May take a minute to load everything. But as you can see, whoops, it's pulling in all of the listing photos directly from the MLS. So the great thing is I don't have to keep going back and forth, downloading those from my MLS and pulling them into command. I can simply just pull them directly from the MLS. So we're going to go ahead and plug some of these in. So the top one, we're just going to click on this and drag it over. And as you can see, when I hover over the box that I want it to go in, it's going to go ahead and drop that into it. Same as the logo did. Now, if I don't like the placement, I can double click on that and I can adjust it. I can resize it to make it fit a little better. However you want to do that, whatever looks best, you can adjust that how you want. Again, preference. This is your design, your property that you're making this for, so it's totally up to you. Once I have that how I want it, I can hit done, and it's going to go ahead and drop that. Now I'm going to move it up a little bit because of the box down here. That's my preference. So now I've got that photo. Now I can move on to the other photos down here. So let's find one that we want to use. I'm going to go ahead and grab the kitchen to replace that. I saw one of a pool. We're going to grab that. And we're just going to we'll just grab the bathroom. Again, your photos, you adjust them how you'd like, pull them in. You can crop them. Like I said, always hit done or it's not going to take. So you do want to use that done option once you've got that adjusted how you want it. A little bigger. Done. So it's really great that you don't have to sit there and resize those photos every time. You just drag it over and drop, and it's going to put it into that box that's already there. That's not to say you can't move these or get rid of one. Let's say I just really don't like this one. I can delete it. I just use the delete button on my keyboard, but you can also use the little trash can to remove. I'm going to leave that one, and I'm going to then just resize this one to make it the same size as the other photo. If you need to zoom in so you can see a little better, you can use the zoom in button at the bottom. And just make sure that those are lined up how you want them. This one doesn't seem to want to line up perfectly, so I'm going to adjust the bottom. As you can see, it does have my disclaimer down here that each office independently owned and operated. I don't know why I just swapped my photo there. I have my name, all of that information. Again, this is information that will pull from your assets if you have them. So you can easily grab that. Or you can just double click, if I could double click correctly, and type that in. And I can't type because I am recording. But then again, you can grab your website, your email, things like that, and plug those in. Up here, if you're looking at these options, when you're looking at text, you're going to notice that you can adjust the font, the text block, the size. You have the color if you want to change that, bold, italic, underlined, the order, all of these things are available. So you can definitely check those out. Also, if you're clicking on this and you're not having any luck clicking on that to type, you can also hit the typewriter and it's going to pull it up over here so you can also type that way. So just know that you have that option as well. If you don't like double clicking, you can just hit that little typewriter. It'll pull up all that text to the right. You can just hit save changes when you're done. We also have columns if you want to play around with that. And then there is the stroke color. Over here you have a line. That will just make things align. Transform, that's to resize. If you're adding links, this is for print marketing, so links wouldn't work. I'm not going to mess around with that today. We also have the opacity, or however you say that. I don't say that word very often, but that will change how that photo looks. If you want it to be transparent, say it's in the background, you don't want to see it as much, you can definitely change that. Layering, if I need to bring this up or send it backwards, this is great if you're adding additional photos. Let's say I wanted to add another photo, and I don't like where it's at. I want it to be behind that text, but I want it to be there. I can move that down. So send backward till I have it where I want it. I don't like that. I'm not going to leave it there. Just showing you, for example, that you can go ahead and do that. Delete, undo. And I'm just going to delete that box. Other information, so we can pull that in from the listing as well. So it has the listing details over here. Also, you can swap those out, or you can go ahead and just type them yourself. It's up to you. Sometimes if you were to bring it over, it may be really long. It may not fit in the space. So you may want to trim it down or adjust it yourself. Let's see. Description. I'm going to go ahead and swap that. So all I did was hit the little replace button. It's the double arrow again, and it just pulled over all of that information. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than my box that I have here. So I can try to readjust that to where it all fits. However, if it doesn't, I can definitely remove whatever I want. You can adjust these. Say you don't like that, you can delete that entirely if you don't want that on there. Feel free to get creative with these. I'm going to go ahead and delete some of this just so we can get through the design. So we're just going to make it fit right there. I don't want to shrink the size down. Keep in mind, if you're trying to adjust the size of the text, it may be harder to read when you actually print it out. So you definitely want to check that out when you're doing it. So I'm zoomed in. Obviously, it's not going to be that size when I print it. So just keep that in mind. If you can't read it, you may want to adjust the size of that. Let's see, photo. Again, this one's going to allow you to pull that in from your images. If you click on the photo, and you go to images, you'll see the My Assets option here at the top. And then you can go ahead and swap that photo out. Keep in mind, sometimes if your photo is not a perfect square, the 360 by 360, it will cut off your head or something like that. So you may want to just take a look at that and adjust it if it does. Also, if you have any trouble with that, feel free to send it over. We're happy to help you resize those if you need it. We're going to go back to editing all this text. I apologize, we're jumping around a little. I keep looking at the chat to make sure that we are in command, you guys. So that is agent.kw.com. And we're just in designs. Okay, so back to this. If we want to adjust the rest of this text, we can go ahead and come here and pull that in. We're going to pull in the address for there. You can do this way or just edit the text, totally up to you. I'm just swapping and that changes the entire thing. So I don't want to do that. I'm just going to, oh, it did it when I put in the address, I think, sorry. So I think it adjusted that already. No, it did not. It looked like it did. Anyways, I'm going to double click. And then I'm going to use my typewriter and we're going to change this to say 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. And I'm not going to worry about the square foot for right now because I'm not too concerned on that. We can change the listing price, all of that stuff. So that is basically your flyer, you guys. There's not a ton more to it. We've gone through the majority of it. But once you have that created, and you've added everything that you want and you have it set up the way that you'd like, you can do a few different things. So first, I like to rename them so I know what it is. So I'm going to say just listed flyer. And this is for 2018. Again, that's totally up to you. You can leave it how it was or edit the text. These are your designs. This is your command. So however you want to do that. Next, we have the download option. So this is for you to download that if you want to send it off to be printed, or if you want to print it yourself in your office or at home. There's a couple ways you can do this. There is the standard PDF for printing. And there is the PDF for printing. So we recommend this one if you're actually going to be printing it out. The reason for that is that it is a higher quality. It prints a little better. It also provides you with the bleeding area. So you can see if something that you have on there is going to be cut off. So definitely check that out. Once you're done and you have it the way that you want it and you're ready to go, you can hit download. And then you can send that to be printed, like I said, in your office, or if you want to send it off and have it printed on nicer paper, whatever you want to do, it will download to your computer so that you can do that. You can also save this as a JPEG or PNG and use it on your social media. That's totally up to you. There is also the option to share. So if you were to add links to this to your website or something like that and use this, they would then be able to actually click on this. So for that, we just do copy. I can then open it in a browser and I would be able to see that. So then it would have those clickable links and things like that. You can also just share it from here. So once I'm all done, I can go ahead and hit done. We're all set. I'm just going to take a quick look at the questions to make sure nothing pertains to anything we covered on that. And then we're going to jump into the listing presentation. We will go back over the logos at the end. We'll jump into that. Templates for business cards. Yes, there are. If we have time at the end, I can show you those, but we do have another class that goes over that. And we'll take a look at the market data as well. All right, guys, we're going to keep moving. Again, we'll come back to those questions in a little bit more depth at the end. We're going to go back to print marketing. Again, we're going to take a look at the buyer presentation and listing presentation, but we are going to focus on the listing presentation today. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. Now, obviously the buyer presentation is under buyer. It's one of those that you most likely don't have to edit it every single time you have a new buyer, but you absolutely can. It depends what content you put in there, if it is buyer specific or if it's just on your services itself. So as you can see, when you're hovering over those, it's going to have a page count in the top left-hand corner, which allows you to see how many pages there are. These are telling you there's 9+ pages. So if we just take a quick look at one of these, I'm just going to grab this one in the middle. We're going to just hit use. And again, I'm just waiting for that bar at the top to kind of load and open in the next page. And hopefully it doesn't get stuck on us. Sometimes they do updates on Thursday, so you never know what you're going to get. And apparently it doesn't want to get. All right, well, it looks stuck, so I'm just going to hit the reload, guys. Sometimes that will allow it to refresh. And we'll take another try at this. If it doesn't, there we go. That's faster. All right, so now that we are in the buyer presentation, you'll see that it's just showing the one page. Again, like we looked at in the last design, if you look over here in the bottom right, it's going to tell you how many pages are actually in this design. So if I click that and expand it, I'm going to see there's 32 pages. They all have different things on them. They're all different. I can click through them. If I don't want my buyer presentation to be 30 pages long, I can remove those. I don't have to leave every page. So like this one, for example, this is one that I would have to edit probably every time I wanted to do a buyer presentation. Maybe I just want to have a standard buyer presentation that I could quickly print out for anyone. I can go ahead and delete that. You can also duplicate it if you want to, but I'm going to delete it just for today. You can kind of look through these and see what you want to keep in your buyer presentation and what you don't. And then you can edit the text, the images, things like that. Whatever your buyer presentation looks like, but this is a great way to just have a an outline and build it how you want it from there. So there's tons of different information in here. Some that's really good to have and others that you may not really want. So it just kind of goes through all of that. Again, customize it, make it how you want. Delete pages that don't align with your business. You can, if you know where they're looking, you can create that. I'll just keep clicking through these. But again, this one's pretty simple. Things you want to pay attention for as you're going through this is just make sure anywhere there is a logo, you swap that out with one of yours. Anywhere there is a photo, you want to make sure that is swapped out with yours. Oops, clicked on that wrong. If there is information like this that needs to be customized to you, just make sure you are very paying attention to the little details when you're in here, because if you miss something and then you print it, you're going to have the wrong name or something, or it's going to say first name, last name instead of your actual name. So just make sure as you're going through this, you are paying attention to those little details, checking for logos and, agent information, buyer information. If you have testimonials, you really just want to go through these kind of with a fine-tooth comb to make sure you don't miss anything, and edit that how you want. Now, once you're done, the great thing about this too is that it's kind of the same. You can do it as a printed version, or if you want to share this before your presentation so they can read through it, you can do the same thing where you do the share. And when you copy that link, it's going to do it like a digital booklet. So this is one of my favorite pieces, is that it kind of allows you to just like flip through those pages and read it. So it's great to also send, even if you are meeting them in person, it's also great to send this afterwards so they can reference it, say they lost the paper or threw it away, they can go back and find the digital copy and reference that again. So I do love that feature. And then of course they can do the other options as well. So again, buyer presentation, we're not going to spend too much time on this one because honestly, it's not a ton to edit because they kind of make it generic for everyone. But once we're done, you can order print, download to print, or share like I showed you. Once we're all done though, we're going to go ahead and hit done. The great thing is that if I do want to customize that per buyer, I have that design already saved and I can just come in here and quickly edit the name or make a copy. So that next time I can have that already created. Like all of my logos are there, names, things like that. So super easy to have that and just, quickly customize it for each buyer. Just trying to pay attention to the time. We're going to go back to print and take a look at the listing presentation. And for this one, you're going to look under listings and it's going to be the listing presentation here. Now you'll see, same as the buyer presentation, there are a few options. So you can kind of pick which one you like, which one looks the best to you, and take a look at that one. I'm going to do this one on the end this time. And once it loads, another thing that, again, for each listing, you can quickly make a copy or just edit the one you already had before you print it or share it for each listing that you have coming up. So you could go ahead and edit the name before you get started. But once we're there, again, 29 pages on this one, click that to expand it. You can also close that again, but it allows you to just go through those pages. Same thing here, you don't have to keep all of these. This is your listing presentation, make it your own. If you don't like the cover photo, feel free to swap that out. You can check out the stock images. You can filter to them, find one. If I just search family, or say you want to put their house on the front, you can definitely do that. I'm going to throw this one in. But if I wanted to put their house on the front, I can definitely do that as well. Let's go back to find John Smith. We did that house. We'll go ahead and select that one again. Give it a second to pull in all of the information. So I want to put their house in the front. Obviously, that size does not work for this photo, so I can make that bigger. Double click and adjust. Now, obviously, I don't like where these are now, so I can move those. But again, this is yours. Make it your own. I could use the transparent thing here and make it less bright if I want to, so that that text shows a little better if I move it back down. And also shift click and move all three of those at one time if you're not familiar with that. But it does give you these little align, like when everything is aligned perfectly, it will kind of show those on the side. But yeah, if you double click or if you shift and click at the same time, it will allow you to grab those and move them. So keep that in mind. But next page, the instructions. So this is just telling you these are instructions for this listing presentation. You don't probably want to print this. So we're going to go ahead and delete it. It is telling you read through everything, customize it to yourself, all of that good stuff. But now we can go ahead and put our people on here for our listing, put our agent information, go ahead and swap our logos, swap our photo. Now, when you're swapping that photo, it's not going to allow you to replace with anything in the logo. You do want to go up to the images and assets there, and it will allow you to swap that way. Go ahead and edit the name and all of that. I'm not going to edit all of this today. Try to make sure we get through enough so we have time for questions. Again, swap that photo. If you want to put more pictures of the house or, you know, previous houses that you've listed, you can definitely do that. Again, this is going over their property, so you can pull that in the snapshot from the area. Again, just make sure all of this text is getting edited either by double clicking and editing or using that typewriter. Comparable properties, their needs, going over the process. Again, if any of this differs from your business, you can go ahead and edit that. All of these are kind of, this one, you can just double click on those again. I know they're really hard to read right now, but they're kind of the same. They're all just little text box. So you can go ahead and double click or hit the typewriter to adjust those if they don't align with how you handle business. Your app, so you can go ahead and have them download your app. If you don't have your app code, I can show you that at the very end where to find that. But that allows you to stay, you know, at the top of their list when they're searching for properties on your app. It's going to notify you of those things. So definitely want to keep that one in there. Marketing plan that you do, finding your buyer. There's not too much to this stuff, you guys, because again, it's just customizing it for yourself. So you're just going to edit all the text and things like that, delete pages that don't pertain to you, or add pages. You can always add custom pages or duplicate one of those to edit it. So say I add the page and I really don't want it to look different than the other pages. I can just duplicate one of these and completely edit it. So if I just did duplicate, it adds it right below. And then I can completely change that. So if I wanted it to just look the same so that it looks like it belongs in the brochure, I can do that as well. And again, if you don't have some of this information, you can always generally rely on your market center to provide, you know, their listings, like the amount that the entire office has sold or their market center stats versus if you don't have any. So if you're just starting out. So just keep that in mind as well. We've got about 15 minutes left. Once you're done with this, obviously it's the same process. You download to print. You can order prints through WeBrand. That is the editor we're in for designs. That's who they use. So you can order prints through there as well. Or like I said, just print in your office or at home. The choice is yours. And then again, you have that share option for the digital booklet. So I love that idea. 15 minutes left. I'm going to try to get us to questions, any questions anybody has. So if you feel like you're all set, you don't have any questions, feel free to go ahead and jump off so you can have some of your day back. But we're going to jump into the questions and make sure everybody's good. I'm going to go ahead and also stop record.